Everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is going to be a bit of a fun video where I talk about my collection goals and sort of my mentality and my thinking on why I like to collect nines. I've made videos on this in the past, but I've added some new collection goals in addition to trying to collect all of these nines, or I guess chase cards in a nine. Here are some of my favorite ones from the EX era, which is where I grew up in. Like, some of the comments did say that, why would you buy nines? Tens are so much better, and the increases in values seem to be more appreciable with tens, but I think I rather have more nines. Some comments did mention that they agreed with me that, I would rather have maybe 5 of these kind of PSA 9 cards and sort of expand my collection rather than having only 110. And sure, the nines are, not a perfect grade in this sense, but I think a lot of the more vintage 10s might not be able to get 10s again. So this is a little bit repetitive, but again, this is why I kind of like the nines. They're a sort of cheaper price, but I do like how they're a decent value for, getting a pretty minty card. You basically can't really tell why this card got a 9 and not a 10. I feel like a lot of 10s look like this, but I kind of like having my chase cards in a slab. It feels nice. But I think beyond just collecting 9s, recently I've actually decided that I also want to collect master sets. More specifically, these would be sets from my childhood, and at least starting off with some of the nostalgic cards I had as a kid. So a lot of this was Diamond and Pearl or EX era. So I think the nice thing with just collecting, PSA 9s and not 10s, as well as some like raw cards, I think you just get way more variety. I feel like it's not really talked about too much in the hobby. Most people, I think, on social media, you'll see that they only want the 10s, and that's sort of the main requirement. But I don't know. I think if you think to yourself, would you be happier if you spent that money on more cards and more for your collection? I think a lot of people might think that they would sacrifice a little bit of a lower grade for more cards in their collection. I mean, for myself, I think I want to start on some master sets for Diamond and Pearl, but I think, depending on what you're nostalgic for or what your favorite sets are, you can collect, I think, binder copies of LP or near mint, or even like mildly played cards, because it doesn't really matter once it sits in a binder. So I think I recently became more and more inclined to just have more cards and have more variety for my own PC, at least. I know for value wise and for sort of liquidity and being able to sell off, it's definitely more tedious if you have more cards. I do get that. That's why I thought maybe I'll get the my favorite cards in a PSA 9. I think that's in that way, if I really need to sell off something in the future, at least it's not, I don't have to sell 20 individual small cards to, get $100 out of it, if that makes sense. But I don't know. I just really liked I just really like picking these cards up for like less than $5 for a lot of these. These are maybe $10, but they're just, quite minty copies. I'll put this in my binder in the future, but yeah, like I said earlier, I just like having more of these cards. There's a lot of cards I had as a child, notably this mammoth swine from Diamond and Pearl. It's just the normal common or uncommon card. I love the art, but I've actually never got to collecting it because it really wasn't worth anything, in the sense that nobody really grades it. It doesn't seem like it's worth picking up. But I think when I collect master sets, it's not too expensive, and I really get to see sort of the cards I had as a kid. So I think sentimentally it's a more sort of interesting way to collect. But I think in terms of just getting some chase cards, I still prefer picking up these 9s. I think they're a really good bang for your buck. These cards are, again, as I said earlier, like, they're pretty much a 10 condition. Some of these level X cards are so hard to grade that they actually don't have a 10 counterpart, so all you can really buy is the 9. But yeah, at the end of the day, I am a heavy 9 collector still, and hopefully you guys will see an update video of my collection and you guys can let me know what you think. And you know, I think I used to be a PSA 10 collector. Like I would, when I was sort of newer to the hobby, I was like, who wouldn't want a perfect grade? And I do have a bit of ADHD, so obviously, you know, I get it. You know, you see a 9, you think, oh, it's not a 10. You know, it's not a perfect card. Like, why would you even own it? But then I think I slowly thought about it more, and I understood that, you know, there's no way I can spend, like, some of these cards were like 4K in a 10. Like, you know, there's no way I'm going to spend 4K, 5K on one single card. I'm not a millionaire. You know, I can't reach any collection goal by collecting that way. So especially for the mid-era and the vintage cards, I think the 10 is just way too hard to obtain. Yeah, maybe I don't have as much money as some of the bigger people in the hobby, but I think at least by collecting some of the 9s, I can still get a really minty copy at a bit more affordable price. You know, I know some people commented in my videos saying that, you know, they only collect 8s or 7s, which is also really good. There's nothing wrong with collecting 8s or 7s. I think, you know, the price difference between an 8 and a 9 is maybe around like $50 to $100 for a lot of these middle era stuff. But you know, you go from a 9 to a 10, that's in the $1,000 you know, differences. So I do think that the jump from the 10 and the 9 price is you know, is a sweet spot for myself. So that's personally what I've been doing. So yeah, and then on the side, I think I've also started trying to do some set collecting and just have some fun, you know, trying to collect every Pokemon card. But like, you know, obviously when I collect it in a binder, I don't really care about the grade. I actually prefer the card to be maybe an LP or, you know, just a near mint condition. Because, you know, I just wanted to see it in a binder. I think it'll look good in a binder. I think that way it's also like, you know, really obtain some of the artworks that I'm looking for without totally having to break the bank. Yeah, so I think over the years my collection did grow in terms of quantity and actually finally buying the cards that I'm, you know, really want to buy. I know in my first year of joining this hobby, I was, you know, collecting what was hyped, what YouTubers talked about. You know, Diamond and Pearl EX cards. Nobody ever talked about that. So I didn't actually buy any cards that I thought were meaningful to me. But then, you know, within the last couple of years, I think I really just bought, you know, I didn't really care what people thought. I just bought what I really enjoyed. And this hobby is really overwhelming at times. There's so many cards on the market, so many new sets, so many graded copies. But I think just ultimately, you know, pick a niche, like a lot of YouTubers say. Collect what you really enjoy, pick like a specialization and really just focus on that. You know, I try to be more of a middle era kind of guy, but you know, as you guys can see, I still get you know, distracted. I'll open the occasional pack or two of the latest sets. Do let me know how you guys collect. I'm really interested in hearing what you guys think. Do check out my affiliate links in the description below. They lead to websites that I use and trust. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And peace out, guys.